Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So this is my message to Mr. Putin, who is the world's most powerful man. Firstly, I wanted to apologize if I made fun of you in my YouTube comments. The only reason I did this is because I am very well aware of how the system works, and that was the best way to get the attention of your KGB supporters, so it is easier for me to convey this message to you. Fi sabilillah. Basically, my message to you, Mr. Putin, right now is that the world is at a bifurcation. There are two options right now. So, option number one is nuclear war. Option number two is the creation of Panslavia. If you do not know what Panslavia is, please do Google it. Search it on YouTube. There are many people discussing this matter as we speak. It's a very interesting project. So let us cover first option number one, which is nuclear war. 90% probability statistically is that if Panslavia is not created, there will be nuclear war, World War III, let us call it Armageddon, with the Western superpowers, United Nations, NATO, and European countries. Right now, as you very well know, there is the American elections where only two people can win at the moment, which are Donald Trump and President-elect Joe Biden. If Donald Trump wins, as you might already be very well aware of, he will completely take away his support from NATO. So Europe will be left with, Germany, France, Great Britain, maybe, that will be potentially allied against Russia. At least these are the only three countries that count, in the sense that have nuclear missiles. The other countries don't have them, so they count a little bit less with manpower. If Joe Biden wins, the Ukraine war might go on for a while, but Congress is doing everything it can so that slowly even Joe Biden is losing interest in Ukraine. Very slowly, he is taking away all the money to finance the brave Ukraine soldiers. I just say they're brave because they're fighting against a bigger country. That's the only reason I say they're brave. Either they're brave or they're very stupid, or both. Sometimes you have to be a bit stupid to be brave. Voila. So with this said, option number two is the creation of Panslavia, which would mimic in every way. It would be an economical alliance, a little bit like Schengen for Slavic countries of Slavic origin. So we want to obtain Panslavia in the smoothest way as possible, without any escalations, nuclear escalations. It is all a matter of de-escalation. So, if you know history very well, you know about perestroika, being very open with the West. This was a détente policy used during the Cold War, which I'm quite sure you very well remember. My father is a very wise man, and he taught me that to your enemies you must always build bridges made out of gold. So right now your enemy is Mr. Zelensky, which is very funny. Zelen in Russian means green, so I like to call him Mr. Green. Mr. Zelensky right now is very stubborn. He knows he is in a very, very tight situation, a very tight position. Bismillah. He knows he's losing finances from the USA and from Europe. But at the same time, he cannot surrender because he is too deep inside of the war. If he would run away right now, all his people would hate him. So you must see, like a true Slav, he's very proud. He's a very proud man. He would never surrender. He would rather die. Or he would run to America in some villa that maybe the US president would give him, but that's not the case. In the end of the day, Ukrainians are the same people as Russians. They have lots of pride. They would never want to surrender. So, since you are the president, you build him a golden bridge. You contact him, call him on his phone number and say, Mr. Zelensky, I give you a way out. I know that right now it's a tight situation. I give you a way out. In the best possible scenario for everyone. You tell him about your project of building Panslavia, and you say that if you surrender to me personally, you personally fly to Moscow and you surrender to me, I will elevate you and make you Tsar of Panslavia. Bismillah, Bismillah. This goes in two ways. Firstly, this is the most elegant way to end your presidency, your career, because you'll be remembered for generations to come as the best president that the world ever had. And secondly, of course, you can always check on him from the shadows, but do this. This is a very wise solution. When you create Panslavia, the first two countries are Russia and Ukraine, of course. The first two building blocks. You change your capital from Moscow to Kiev. So Kiev becomes the capital officially of Panslavia. And then the second capital is St. Petersburg. Why? Because we're operating from Perestroika, Glasgow's and Perestroika. So we're trying to be as open as possible with the West to show NATO that they should not fear. We have goodwill. We want to de-escalate the war. Maybe the war will become an economic war, but it's always better than nuclear war. Because I warn you, I know that Russia, in a possible nuclear outcome, will actually come out victorious because unlike Europe and unlike United States, they don't have very dense population in urban areas. The Russian territory is widespread and they're very large mountain ranges. So if you all like me have watched the movie Dr. Strangelove, you know there are the underground bunkers under the mountains in Siberia. Yes, my mother is very scared. I speak to Mr. Putin. Le sigarette sono... Sigarette... prendi sigarette.
Con chi parli?
Con Mr. Putin.
Ah.
Yes. My mother does not believe me that I'm speaking directly with Vladimir Putin. She's very scared. She thinks I'm crazy. But I do this, fi sabilillah, to bring the world less conflict and possible nuclear de-escalation. So with this said, if you are working for the KGB and see this video, please, I beg of you, speak with your superior and show this to Mr. Putin. You don't have to show the whole video. You can just make a summary for him. And if you're interested, contact me. I live in Italy right now. I know you have connections with Italian mafia, so you just have to call the Italian mafia and kidnap me. I live in the Trieste area, northeast Italy. Just put one of those baklavas on my head and fly me to the fastest airplane to Moscow so that I may speak with Mr. Putin face to face, inshallah. If you have any questions, about this plan about Panslavia. And I will just rewatch this video since I was interrupted to see if there's any point I missed out. And maybe I'll make a part 2 to this video. But yes, the main plan is to call Mr. Zelensky and say, listen, you have no way out. I am offering you a way out. Surrender to me personally. I make you the Tsar of Panslavia. You will be remembered for future generations to come as the best president the world has ever had. Maybe Pope Kirill will actually make you into a saint, into an Orthodox saint for saving the world from World War III and nuclear war, inshallah. With that said, you transfer the capital from Moscow to Kiev to show goodwill, practice Glasgow and Perestroika, as during the Cold War. Was it not Yeltsin, the other president? Gorbachev? I'm not very good with my history. I have to read on Wikipedia. So then, Kiev is the first capital. Second capital of Panslavia is St. Petersburg, as it used to be, because it's open to the sea. So it shows goodwill towards European countries that we have no intent to escalate a nuclear war. And then you can make Belarus join, Serbia, of course, Chechnya, and all the old countries of the USSR, which I know that you, Mr. Putin, are trying to rebuild the USSR, but that is an old concept. It's an old idea. It belongs to the past. So you propose to the people a new concept called Panslavia, which is a little bit like Schengen for Europe, but with Slavic countries. Countries of Matrice Slavica, of Slavic nature, matrix. Slavic mother, basically. Matrix just means mother. In Italian, Matrice Slavica. Nazioni di Matrice Slavica. So with this said, once Panslavia is being constructed, a little bit like a mirror to the EU and Schengen, you will be surprised that so many countries will actually want to join this project. And they might actually leave NATO, leave the EU, because they see that Panslavia is working so well and the economy is going so up. They say, why should I stay with Europe? So maybe Croatia will join, especially if Serbia joins. And Hungary, of course, with Mr. Orban, can join. And Latvia, Estonia, all these countries, they go back into the old USSR sphere, which is now Panslavia, because we're projected towards the future. And it can be an economic peace treaty with the EU. And who knows, in the future, maybe there can be one world government, inshallah. But until then, we just focus on Panslavia, building Panslavia. And what else can I say? Oh yes, and then of course there's Slovenia, which is very close to Trieste, where I live. It can become the new Switzerland of Panslavia. So Europe, you have Switzerland, and which is in NATO now, and Panslavia can have Slovenia as the new Switzerland. Isn't that a good idea? So please tell me what you think, and mashallah for listening to me. Jazakallah khairan. May Allah bless you with His infinite goodness, and assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.